Hey guys, my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here today. Today's video is going to be all about DIYs done with eggs, and I have some fun and unique DIYs for you. I hope you enjoy. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing and also give me a big thumbs up as that helps me out here on YouTube. Okay, here is a fun idea for you. I've seen this done a few different ways, but here is my unique spin on it. And this is done using Dollar Tree supplies. So I have these two wreath forms from Dollar Tree. I'm using the 14-inch wreath forms and also this spray paint by Rust-Oleum. I'm going to spray paint my wreath forms, and then I'm going to grab this Easter grass from Dollar Tree. They have several different colors, but I thought this yellow was pretty. It's really long, and so I'm just going to cut it into little chunks and begin to place it on the inside of one of my wreath forms as I had flipped it over. Once that is done, I'm going to grab some egg garland from Dollar Tree. It's actually tied together, so I'm just going to untie it and then you'll have one long strip. I'm going to lay the strip down and it goes about 3/4 of the way around this wreath form, and then I'll just cut the rest off of another strip to fill it out and then begin doing this again. So I used about 3 full garlands, just piecing it together like so, and then I am just gluing down under some of the eggs to make sure that everything is nicely in position. Next, I'm placing my other wreath form on top, and I have some zip ties also from Dollar Tree. I'm going to zip tie at the connection points of my wreath forms here, and I'm going to pull my zip ties as tight as possible, and then I'm just going to trim them off. And after I trim them off, I'm going to turn the zip tie inward so it's not sticking out and it doesn't look ugly and nobody gets scratched. Then I'm going to come with some more of this grass and I'm just going to shove it in all the cracks around the edge and around the front. It will look like a hot mess, but then you take your scissors and give it a haircut. Next, I'm going to grab some Dollar Tree ribbon and form a bow. I'm making a very simple bow with 2 loops on either side and then cutting off the excess. I do this with 2 Dollar Tree ribbons, and I also cut a couple of long strips for tails. I'm going to zip tie this all tightly together to form the bow that I'm going to place onto my wreath. So here is what my wreath looks like after it's haircut, and I'm just gluing down my bow. I actually glued it on the left side for some reason, and I usually do glue my bows on the right, but here's what this looks like. I am dovetailing my tails, which simply means I'm folding them over and cutting a triangle upward. I did glue a little egg in the middle of my bow, and here's what this looks like. I think this is so fun and colorful and sweet. I really love how it looks. Of course, you could do the same thing with a different style, a more serious style with larger eggs if you liked. And of course, customize your ribbons as well. I've made so many projects with Dollar Tree eggs that I think are so adorable. Here are some of my favorites, and I'm going to link this compilation video below so you can check these out if you would like to. I have another new quick and easy idea. You're going to need some glassware for this one. I grabbed my vase from a thrift store, but Dollar Tree does have vases, and I grabbed this glass plate from the Dollar Tree. Also, this package of colorful eggs comes 24 to a pack. All you're going to do is put your eggs inside of your vase. Again, this is so simple and easy. You could also use any style eggs you liked. If you wanted to use smaller eggs or if you wanted a certain color, you could paint these. But I just filled up my vase until it was level, and then I'm going to place my glass plate on top. Now you could glue it down with some E6000 if you would like. You could put cupcakes on this, goodies, treats. I just styled it this way to show you guys how fun and easy this is, but the sky is the limit. You could also leave the glass plate off and stick some florals in there. I put some pretty florals I had in my stash down in here just to give you a centerpiece idea. Today's challenge is Recreation Inspiration, which I host every month on the 8th with my friend Charlene from Crafty Art Shack. Our guest host this month is CJ from CJ DIY. These ladies are amazing and talented, and they will be linked in my description box below, as well as the playlist for this challenge. Now, my inspiration today, who I would like to give credit to, comes from two very special ladies, Bargain Bethany, whom just posted a video that had several egg crafts in it, and that got me thinking back to some of my favorite egg DIYs and also some ideas of things I wanted to create. I then started searching for egg DIYs, and I found the Daily DIYer, who has a whole video dedicated to egg crafts and DIYs. So between these two ladies and their inspiration, I decided to make a whole video dedicated to egg crafts. So I'm going to link them down below. Definitely check them out, and you won't be disappointed. Okay, let's jump into our next all-new craft, which is going to be this bunny from Dollar Tree. I am going to use a plastic egg from Dollar Tree that I purchased for $3. You just snap it together like so. And I have a bunny ear headband from Dollar Tree. I also have some yarn from Hobby Lobby that I purchased 40% off. This yarn I've used in so many of my crafts. I love working with it. I am just going to create a circle on the bottom of this egg, and that's actually going to help this stand up straight. It doesn't really stand up before you do this, but if you make a circle on the bottom, it adds some stability. So I'm just using hot glue to attach this, and for the first several rows, I'll also use some hot glue on the row before and squish them together to make sure everything stands nicely and there's no gaps. Then you can just start wrapping around and round and just adding hot glue here and there until you come to the top. I just like to push it down every so often to make sure that it's nice and tight, because again, you don't want any gaps. And here is what this looks like. Now, approaching the top, you'll need to add a little bit more hot glue as it gets a little bit more tricky to wrap around and not leave any gaps, but definitely doable. And here is what this looks like. Of course, if you feel more comfortable, you could spray paint your egg first. Now I'm going to take my bunny ear headband and just snip off the sides, leaving the two ears attached to that piece, and glue it down to the top of my egg. I am then going to carefully wrap around the headband, just covering that up and gluing it down, trimming off any excess. And then I will wrap each ear separately with the same yarn by just gluing it down, starting at the bottom, wrapping all the way to the top, gluing it down and cutting off any excess. My ears will be really cute and floppy, and I love how this looks. I did make a larger version of this last year, also inspired by Bargain Bethany, using some of Dollar Tree's plasticware. So here's what this looks like, and I had a bow that I made for another project that I'm going to attach to this. I just used 3 different types of ribbon and stacked them together and zip tied it. I do usually show how I make my bows here, and I will show one later on in this video, but I'm going to add a flower in between this bow. I also added a carrot at the top for some color, and here's what this looks like. Of course, that is super customizable, and Hobby Lobby does have several colors of this yarn, which I think is so adorable. So here's just something different and fun, and a large DIY that you can do very inexpensively. Okay, here is another new DIY for you, and this one was also really fun to make. Actually, I got a little bit frustrated before it became fun, but I tried to use a basket and I couldn't get the yarn to stay on, so I pivoted. I am going to be using a Dollar Tree bunny, and I end up using this plastic container from Dollar Tree, and also I didn't have any white fuzzy yarn that was thick like the pink yarn I just showed you. So I ended up using this skinny white yarn, and this was kind of a pain because honestly it was hard to keep the rows super straight. But I decided it looked okay not being super straight. It kind of gave it a woven look. So I just glued it down and wrapped it around up as high as I could go. Of course, it would be easier if you had a container that stopped all the way around at the same height. Mine did not. So toward the back, I just started cutting strips, and that way I could cover that up as much as possible. So sometimes you have to improvise. I used a Dollar Tree baby blanket, and I cut a strip of that, folded it over so I had a nice edge, and I just glued that down all the way around the top of this container to make it look a little bit nicer. Again, I would recommend having a container that is one level, and also if you had some of that thicker yarn from Hobby Lobby, white yarn would be really pretty. But again, improvising usually works, and here is what I am left with. I'm just going to make sure everything is glued down nicely and trim off the excess. And then of course I'm going to tuck the rest down on the inside and glue that down as well. Now I'm going to perform an operation on this poor little bunny. I'm going to begin by cutting his arms off, as we're going to be using those. The next step is decapitating this little guy. So I did just separate the stuffing, as you can see, to make sure that the head was still stuffed. And then I just cut the fabric so it looks like this. I then folded it over the back of my basket and just glued those little flaps down nice and tight so my head still stood up straight. I am then going to cover up that little white flap with another piece of my pink baby blanket. Then I'm going to take my arms and glue them around the front so it looks like the Easter bunny is hugging the basket or holding it. Just glue the arms down with a hot glue, and I did that on top of that little blanket brim there. Next, I am going to cut off my bunny's feet and glue them to the bottom of the basket, being careful to make sure that they are even with the arms. And here is what it looks like. So quick and easy and fun. But I'm also going to add in the rest of that baby blanket to the inside to make it look pretty and fluffy. And here is some Easter eggs that Dollar Tree sells that are so cute. So that's an idea. And the other eggs I'm using, the glittery ones, come from some Dollar Tree Easter grass picks. So there's a few different ways you can use this. I also show it styled with some candies and goodies, as you could give this as a cute and adorable little Easter basket. So I hope that you like this idea as well. For the next one, I'm going to share with you an Easter topiary tree that is again very customizable and was quite easy to make. I began with 4 packages of these Easter eggs from Dollar Tree and 4 colors of my choice. I have a folk art yellow type paint that I mixed some plaster Waverly with. I also have Waverly celery, Waverly Valley slipper, and this folk art blue color, which I again mixed a little bit of Waverly plaster with. I paint all my eggs, giving them 2 generous coats. Here's what they look like. Now I have this tree shape from Hobby Lobby. It was $9.99, but I got it 50% off around Christmas time for about $5. If you don't have one of these on hand, you can also take a poster board from the Dollar Tree, not a foam board, but a thinner poster board, and you can roll it up into a cylinder shape, as I have done in the past, and this works really well for a tree base. Once you have your base, then just begin gluing your eggs on. I used no real rhyme or reason. I just placed them how I liked them. I just tried to make sure that they were all facing upward, so they did look slightly organized. I am just kind of going with how I feel and using generous amounts of hot glue. So here's what that looks like. Once I get that all done, I'm going to come in with some of this Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree, using my little handy dandy tool here from the Dollar Tree and being very careful of my fingers, just spreading this moss out between all of these eggs. Now, originally I had planned to wrap some garland around from Dollar Tree, but once I got this tree complete, I couldn't find it. I also thought I had some more small flowers, which I couldn't find as well. So you'll see, once I get my tree all set up, I improvised and just used some tiny little white flowers that I had in my stash. But I think it comes out so cute. I do think it would be adorable adorable with that little garland from the Dollar Tree, and also maybe some other little flowers, whatever you think looks nice. But I do like the little pops of color against that Spanish moss. But I'm just adding moss here and there and all over between these eggs, just kind of pulling it, stretching it out, and making sure that there is not a lot of gaps. Again, please be careful with your fingers. Dollar Tree does sell some little finger protectors, which I would highly advise using. Mine just seem to have legs and walk away and disappear, and nobody has ever seen them. So I just go ahead and do this. But I was very careful and I was fine. I was just so thrilled with how this craft came out. Also, Dollar Tree has several types of mosses. If you don't like this Spanish moss, there are different colors of moss you could use. But here's what it looks like once I added in those little flowers I told you about that I had in my stash, and I just put it in a Dollar Tree bucket. And I absolutely love these soft colors, but of course, super customizable. Here is another idea for you. Dollar Tree sells various sizes of eggs, some $1.25, some $3, and some $5. I believe this was a $5 one. I painted it with Waverly Plaster chalk paint, and I took these wall stickers from the Dollar Tree. Some of them I cut down. This one I cut down to fit my egg, and I just placed it on there, used my fingers to smooth it out. I did make a couple of slits so that the flour would lay better, and then another one I just kind of cut in half and placed half on either side of the seam in my egg, whatever I thought was going to lay nicely. So you can see how I'm doing that here. I'm just pressing everything down as well as I can. I am going to Mod Podge all over this whole thing, so just pressing it down and making sure that it's positioned nicely. I use some of these smaller ones too. I just kind of mixed and matched between those two sheets of Dollar Tree wall stickers. Here's what we have, and here's what it looks like after the Mod Podge is dry. This will be good for years to come, and I love how it turned out. So here's an idea that I had recently done with a Dollar Tree container. I used some Peeps, jelly beans, and Dollar Tree eggs to make a cute little arrangement. I also used Dollar Tree eggs to create this wreath. I grabbed the largest wreath form that Dollar Tree had, and I covered it up in some Dollar Tree ribbon. I grabbed 4 packages of Dollar Tree sequined eggs. I pulled off the little handles or hangers that were on each egg, and then I placed them down on top of this wreath. I do have them kind of going topsy-turvy, back and forth at an angle. They are not perfect. I wanted them to look fun and whimsical, but you could do this however you like. Just use a generous amount of hot glue to hold them into position. I did leave a space for my large bow that I plan to make with these Dollar Tree ribbons. This bright pink ribbon from Dollar Tree for $1.25, this dark purple ribbon for $1.25, and this $3 peep ribbon from Dollar Tree as well. I'm going to create one of my classic bows by just folding my ribbon over several times. So I'm starting with the purple. I'm folding it over until I have 3 loops on either side. Usually with a thicker ribbon, I will do 2 loops, but my thinner ribbons, I like to have 3 or sometimes even 4. So here's what that looks like, and I'm going to zip tie that. I'm going to repeat this with my dark pink, and then for this bow, I'm actually turning them in opposite directions and zip tying them together, so I have a large round bow like this. I am then going to create another bow with this peep ribbon, and for that, I did do 4 loops, and I'm attaching that on top of my other 2 bows like this, attaching it all tightly with a zip tie, and I did leave those tails hanging down. Now I'm going to hot glue this onto my wreath form, add an egg in the middle. I dovetailed my tails, which is cutting a triangle upward, and here is what this wreath looks like. So cute, easy, and fun. Bargain Bethany did use a hula hoop to create a fun egg wreath, so you should definitely check that out. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoy these egg DIYs. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. Also, check out the links in my description box, and have a great day, friends. I will see you soon.